Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope we're all doing absolutely fantastic. And today, as usual, we're gonna continue the book by Cicero on the ideal orator. It's gonna be the 53rd part of the third book, so let's get started. Metaphors, guidelines for their use. In using metaphors, we must, in the first place, avoid a lack of resemblance, such as in the great arches of heaven. Although Ennius introduced onto the public stage, as the saying goes, the notion of a heavenly sphere, an arch still doesn't bear any resemblance to a sphere. Contrast this example. Leave Odysseus while you may, snatch with your eyes your last ray of light. He didn't say take or seek, for that would imply the delay of someone hoping to live longer, but snatch. This word is well suited to what he had just said, while you may. Next we must see to it that the resemblance is not far-fetched. The certus of his inheritance, I would rather call the reef, and for the Charybdis of his possessions, I would rather prefer whirlpool, since the mind's eye is drawn from more easily to things that we have seen than to those we have heard of. Moreover, since perhaps the greatest merit of metaphorical language is that metaphors have a striking effect on the senses, we should avoid any baseness in the things to which the minds of our audience will be pulled by the resemblance. I don't like people to say that by death of Scipio the state has been castrated. I don't like Glosha to be called the dung of the Senate House. However close the resemblance might be, still the thought of it is offensive in both cases. Also, I don't like metaphors to be stronger than the subject demands. For instance, a storm of rivalry, or weaker, for instance, the rivalry of a storm. And I don't like a word that is used as a metaphor to be narrower in scope than the proper and literal word would have been. As in, please do tell me why do you not people back from approaching you? You forbid or prohibit or datter would be better, since the man is questioned had said, stay where you are, lest my taint touch of or weary shadow harm good people. Moreover, if you are aware that a metaphor might seem a little harsh, you can frequently soften it by means of an introductory word. For example, if someone at the time had said that Cato's death had left the Senate an orphan, it would have been a little harsh. But so to speak, an orphan sounds somewhat milder. In fact, a metaphor ought to be restrained and being in a place that is not its own. It must appear to have been escorted there, rather than to have burst in. It must seem to have come with permission, not by force. Alright, guys, so we've done with the next part, and today we're gonna continue as usual. Thank you for joining me today in this reading session. See you tomorrow. Bye.